2022, and the special meeting of the Shelton Planning and Zoning Commission being conducted via Zoom and through a phone link is hereby called to order at 6:10 p.m. And we apologize for the delay in starting our meeting, but we had some technical issues. This meeting may also be viewed live and remotely on YouTube. And I'm going to turn the conduct of the meeting, of tonight's meeting, over to Vice Chair Kelly.
Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? And I invite those participating remotely to do the same.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will start off with the roll call of the PZC. Please verbally indicate that you are present when your name is called. Commissioner Parkins?
Present.
Commissioner Amato? Commissioner Amato? Alternate Commissioner Nafio?
I'm here.
Okay. Commissioner Harger?
Present.
Commissioner Kelly, myself. Alex Rossetti, P&Z Administrators.
Present.
Tony Panico, P&Z Consultant.
Present.
Sarah Venucio, Recording Secretary.
Present.
Okay. And Stephanie Carboni, stenographer.
Present.
All right.
Is
And-
Commissioner Amato?
And I am here finally.
All
Yes,
right, Commissioner Amato.
I am here.
For the record, Commissioner Lasco, Commissioner Ticky, and alternate Commissioner Uso are not available for this evening meeting. Alternate Commissioner Anafio will be seated for Commissioner Lasco. Couple points before continuing tonight's agenda. Mr. Rossetti will act as a Zoom meeting host. Commissioners will be able to make comments throughout the meeting, and the chair asks that you please identify yourself, wait to be recognized, to make sure that you are not speaking over each other, and to make sure our recording secretary is clear as to who is speaking. This evening, we are opening 2 public hearings and continuing another. This is the protocol the PCC will be following on each. Mr. Rossetti will indicate that if any written comments were received from members of the public no later than 24 hours before the start of this evening's meeting, to be read into the records. The applicant or our associates will make their presentation. The PCC can ask questions during the presentation or its conclusion. The applicant and or associates can answer PCC questions at the time they are presented or at the conclusion of the presentation. The public will then be recognized to comment on the application. The applicant's attorney and our associates will be given the opportunity to address any comments or questions from the public after the last person from the public has been given the opportunity to speak. If the PZC feels further investigation is necessary for the applicant, the chair may ask for a motion to continue the public hearing. If the public hearing remains open, the PZC will not be allowed to make public comments, discuss any part of the applicant or his associate presentation, or receive any additional information from anyone. If the PZC feels that the applicant or his associates have answered all questions and have addressed all concerns from the PZC and our public, the chair will ask a motion to close the public hearing. Staff will then schedule a discussion about the application in the upcoming PZC meeting, during which the time the PZC will ask by the chair for how it wants to proceed. I would like to share the guidelines of the members of the public who choose to speak at the point of the public hearing when the chair calls for public comment. To identify yourself as a member of the public who wish to speak, please use Zoom raise your hand feature or dial 9 on the phone. After you identified by Mr. Rossetti, please state and spell your name and your address to assist recording secretary and stenographer when they are preparing the minutes and transcript of the public hearing. Please direct your comments and questions to the PZC chair and to the chair only, not to the applicant or his associates. Comments from the public should be addressed criteria of the zoning regulations, the merits of the application, and be new information, and be not repeat of comments previously presented. Members of the public are expected to practice appropriate etiquette by being quiet, observant, and respectful. Disruptive attendance may be removed from verbal participation. Chair would like to take a couple of agendas out of order, and we get the public hearing for commission after re-subdivision of 54 plus minus acres. Commissioner Amato, would you please read the legal notice?
This is number 3 on the agenda. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Initiation of commission action for a re-subdivision of 58 plus or minus acres, assessors map 105, lots 11, 14, map 104, lots 25, 28, 31, and map 91, lot 29, in the area known as the Mosque property. The area is zoned I1A or 1. This re-subdivision is planned for future industrial development. Property is generally bounded as follows: northerly by properties along Walnut Avenue, easterly by properties along Cott Street, southerly by Sunwood condominiums, and westerly by properties along Regent Drive.
Thank you, Commissioner Amato. Posted on the city's website are two conceptual subdivision plans. Attorney Teodesco, what information do you have to share with us?
Well, the subdivision plan that you have before you is called a re-subdivision because of the characterization of the property, or I should say the planned use of the property a long time ago with regard to, I believe it was City Trust had presented a PDD for this area to allow development. You know that the city ultimately became the owner of that property, and now this re-subdivision is necessary in order to effectuate what the city plans to do with the property as an industrial subdivision.
Do any of the commissioners have any questions for Attorney Teodesco? Take that as a no. Are there any members of the public participating remotely who would like to comment on this application? Need to use the Zoom raise your hand feature or dial 9 on your phone to be identified. Mr. Rossetti, are there any members of the public on Zoom or Viva phone who would indicate they wish to speak?
There are not.
Okay, so are there any questions?
Alex, this is Commissioner Parkins, can you just zoom down a little bit, maybe to like 25% so the full map is on the screen? Perfect.
So there's, just to be clear, there's
another piece.
there's this little piece here that comes up from Bridgeport Avenue. And that's coming up through these parcels. And then the bulk of the property that's really going to be developed is up here.
Up
And then
past the map top, past the top of the map?
Yes, so that this map here, this is Bridgeport Avenue and the Route 8 bridge.
Yeah.
To the left of the map, this is towards the wiffle ball factory. To the right is downtown.
Yeah.
So this will punch through, come all the way up, and then as my mouse leads up here, this ties into this area down here. And so then these are the lots that will be re-subdivided.
So where does this Constitutional Boulevard West end up as you go north, I guess?
It's northwest, that's correct.
Okay.
Well, initially, I guess it's going to end at the Moss property line, correct?
Correct.
So
Okay,
what we're looking at right now is the Moss property, correct? Or no?
Well, you're
No.
looking at the Moss
It's-
property plus pieces to the south, to the west.
Okay, that's what I thought he first said. Okay, so this is all the property that was just recently acquired.
What
Yeah,
you're looking at on this map is the Moss property. Now, if we go to the other map that attaches to the bottom of this one, Al,
yeah,
These
these are just connecting
parcels are
properties.
not Moss.
Correct.
okay.
If I could interject, those are the parcels the city acquired through purchase and condemnation.
Okay,
That's
that's what
about
I just wanted clarification on that.
That's in order to put the road in, am I correct?
Correct,
Okay,
So Fran, the city is the owner now of all of these parcels, right?
correct, yes.
Okay,
We bought one and we condemned the other.
okay.
So looking at that little call out on the upper right-hand corner, the properties that we're looking at right now are just the two. It's not the big where it says site, it's those smaller,
No, you're
Rectangular.
looking
right?
the lower one, yes.
Yes.
yeah,
But the re-subdivision encompasses virtually all of that shaded area with the exception of the add-on to the north there. Everything inside the heavy black line.
Wait a minute, I'm getting conflicting responses here. The map, the big map that we were just looking at includes this large site that Alex just highlighted?
Yes, that's all the old Moss property. And the other strip of green is the right-of-way parcels that were acquired by the city. So all the ownership within the re-subdivision is city ownership.
So
Right.
Ruth, the map, this smaller map is this area down here. The city owns some other parcels that are not being discussed right now.
Yep.
This is what we're in just general conversations are referring to as the Moss property. On that.
And that's what's
larger-
depicted on the large drawing
Yes,
to the left.
that's correct.
Okay.
okay. Are we ready? Are we done?
Alex, do you have any information on topography?
Yes, I can share that with you. It's, extremely topographically challenged. There's water
Oh,
courses
yes.
all over.
I think we all know that.
But these lots conform with our standards that we worked on for 3 acres with lot frontage and setback and setback from residential districts. We don't have building drawings yet, so obviously
Right.
that'll play a big part with topography there.
Right, this is just a land subdivision,
Correct.
correct? Okay, yeah. And this may very well change in the future, but
That's true. These property lines could be shifted, lot line adjustment, but right now, this is what we got to get going for the
okay.
city.
Okay,
And how many of these are sold already? Are they sold with these lines? Are some of these properties spoken for?
are they subdivided to what they are now? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah, like lot 4, lot 5, lot 6.
Well, I don't think anything has been sold in the sense that it's closed,
okay.
but I think there are contracts to
You-
purchase
With the-
virtually all of those parcels.
With these particular lines, pretty much.
Right.
If I could interject, the contracts contemplate finalization of lot lines so that the buyers can get into their due diligence periods, knowing that there's at least some agreement as to what the configuration of the lots are. So there are contracts out there, all with this tentative language, which can become more substantive and accurate after this subdivision approval.
And is that kind of vagueness to do with the topography and the wetlands? Is that what the complication is in terms of?
Well, it has to do with the fact that we don't have an approved subdivision map to
Oh.
be alluding to. When you buy property, you say you buy property X, property Y, property Z. You've got property Z as lot 6, property X as lot 4, and the contracts that go with that can now become more definite.
Okay,
So basically, you're buying a plot of land.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, as Fran pointed out, it's conceivable that down the line, some of these lines would be adjusted as the site developments is worked out by the individual purchasers. But it all starts with the big piece, the
Mhm.
24-acre piece.
Okay. So any more questions? If not, is there a motion to either continue or close the public hearing for this agenda item?
I think we can move to close. I'll move.
Oh, okay, who will make that motion?
Were any comments received in the office?
No,
Yeah, I'll make the motion. Commissioner Mato, public hearing.
Is there a second?
Commissioner Parkins will second.
Okay, on this motion to close the public hearing made by Commissioner Mato and second by Commissioner Parkins, we'll have a roll call. Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Harger,
Aye.
Commissioner Mato,
Aye.
alternate Commissioner Anapio,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. The chair recognizes Attorney Teodesco for the presentation of a resolution in this matter.
Okay. Alex, do you have the identification of the maps that you could read at the end of this motion?
yeah,
All right. Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I can read you the language that the commission should adopt, but the specific reference to the maps I don't have here as part of my paperwork, and I would ask Alex to insert it. And those would be the two maps that the commission just reviewed as part of the
That's fine.
public hearing. Okay. Move to approve the re-subdivision of 58 plus or minus acres known as Assessor's Map 105, lots 11 through 14, map 104, lots 25, 28 to 31, and map 91, lot 29, in the area known as the Moss property, as presented to the commission with maps showing a re-subdivision maps known as.
would you like a file number or would you like a
You should read the key.
title block?
Yes.
Yeah.
Known as the Moss property, Constitution Boulevard West, Blacks Hill Road and Bridgeport Avenue, with 2 accompanying maps.
Need the number of the maps, don't you?
There's no dates on those keys.
The file number is 2022-045.
Dated.
Dated October 31st, 2022.
Do you need Lewis Associates also on that? By Lewis Associates?
If it's there, it should be included.
It is there.
By Lewis Associates.
That's it.
That's it.
All right. So is there a motion to approve or deny the resolution? And who will make it?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution as stated by Attorney Teodoso.
And a second?
I'll second it, Commissioner Mato.
Okay. So On the motion to approve, Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Harger,
Aye.
Commissioner Amato,
Aye.
alternate Commissioner Nafio,
Aye.
and the chair approves it. All right, next on the agenda is old business. An 824 referral, City of Shelton, to construct a roadway. Posted on the city's website is an 824 referral from the city. This agenda item is item number 4 on the 824 referral, which in an oversight was not specifically voted upon with the first 3 of the commission's meeting on March 8th. The chair recognizes Attorney Teodosko.
Yes, as the chairman has pointed out, and as you may recollect, or you can go back and refresh your recollection either through the minutes or the video on this, the presentation to the board for the original 824 referral on the Moss property, which started this whole process, had included in it the roadway. The commission had it before them, but when you voted, you only voted items 1 through 3. As you can tell from the previous topic that was just before you, the matter is underway, and in order to dot the i's and cross the t's, we need to make sure that that 824 referral action has been taken.
Okay. Does the commission have any questions for the attorney?
Just,
I don't have a question, but I just want to get it on the record that the 824 referral is the city of Shelton to construct a roadway, including the installation of public utilities to permit the extension of the existing Constitution Boulevard in a westerly direction.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to report favorably for this agenda item? And who will make it?
I'll make a motion to report favorably for this agenda item.
I need a second.
I'll second it, Commissioner Onofrio.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. On this motion to approve a favorable report, roll call, Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Harger,
Aye.
Commissioner Amato,
aye.
alternate Commissioner Nofio,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is the initiation of public hearing for application 2225 Cedar Village at the Locks, which is a major change to PD 60. Commissioner Amato, would you read the legal notice for this application?
Sure. Initiation of application 22-25 Cedar Village at the Locks at 281 Canal Street, Assessors Map 139, Lot 3 and 4, for a major modification PD with detailed development plans on 1.2 acres for 29 apartments, 1,745 square retail, and 192 parking spaces. The plans titled Initial Site Development Plans were prepared by Rose Tizo and Company, LLC. The property is generally bounded as follows: southwesterly by Canal Street, northwesterly by land of Shelton Canal Company, northeasterly by Housatonic River, southeasterly by land of the city of Shelton.
Thank you, Commissioner Amato. Posted on the city's website are the applications, standard and uses, statement and uses, and standard several floor plans, and a letter from the fire marshal. Mr. Rossetti, were there any other reports, material, correspondence received within the time period of this application that need to be acknowledged for this record?
Yes, last Tuesday, we received a revised statement of use and standards that will be online soon. We sent another copy to everyone's email. And just to clarify, the reason for that was this whole Canal Street area is part of PDD 60.
Okay, thank you.
That's it.
Let's see, is the applicant I see is present. So please identify yourself for the record and proceed.
Can I just ask a question?
Sure.
Of Mr. Panico? This is noted as a major modification of a PDD. Is that the correct terminology, Mr. Panico?
Well, yes, because this is an entirely different concept from what was on the original basic development plans,
Mm-hmm,
the conceptual plans, if you will.
mm-hmm.
The
Okay.
conceptual plans before was a higher rise building with mixed uses in it, commercial floors, offices, condominiums. This is an entirely different proposal.
Okay, I just want to make sure it was being positioned correctly on our legal notice in our agenda. I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Again, I'll turn it over to those who want to proceed.
Don, you're on mute.
You're on mute. Still on.
And try that again.
Yeah, you're good.
Don Stanziel, 42 Lazy Brook Road, Shelton. Owner of Cedar Village and Midland Development Companies. And before I turn it over to Pat to explain the project, I just, we're excited about the project. We're excited to do the end of Canal Street at the locks. I want to thank P&Z to hear us, and we went through a few shop sessions, and hopefully the changes that we have made in the past year work better. And it's just going to be a nice project connecting that whole area from the river walk that we want to put in up to an open space area where there's going to be seating and a ramp to get up to the locks. So I think this project, the town should be very happy with, and we're just excited. And I will turn it over to Pat Rose.
Good evening, Patrick Rose from Rose Tiso and Company, 35 Brentwood Avenue, Fairfield, Connecticut. Alex, can I share my screen so I can show the project?
Should be able to.
Thank you, sir. Okay. What you have before you is the aerial photo of downtown Shelton and Derby on the other side of the river, and our proposed site, which is 0 to 281 Canal Street, is here at the end of Canal Street. We have a view, obviously, of the river as almost on two sides of our building, and then views up to the spillway down below, and over down to the Bridge Street Bridge. So we've got a significant, let's go to the next slide. A little closer view of that. The Star Pin building that has since burned, and our piece is right beyond that at the end of Canal, and this is the canal right at the end of our piece. So what we had done in presenting this originally is to propose our own PDD, but Alex pointed out that this is a PDD already, this whole area, and we needed to make modifications to that associated PDD for our project. Project in general is 129 residential units in a 4-story building above parking, with a small retail component of 1,745 square feet on the first level. One of the things that, since this PDD was done back in 2007, 15 years ago, some things have changed a little bit that we had to catch up on. Number one, as part of the permitted uses, there were no mention of studio units in the permitted uses. So our first thing was to add studio units, since we are proposing studio units within our building. Second portion of that is that there is a minimum floor area per dwelling unit, 650, which reflects 1-bedroom units. We are proposing a change to bring it to 500 square foot minimum for studios. And then in the parking, we are proposing changing the 2.0 spaces per dwelling unit, which is, and has changed anyway down to, in some places, to 1. We're proposing a new standard, at least for our development, of a studio would be 1 space per dwelling unit. A 1-bedroom unit would be 1.5 spaces per dwelling unit, and a 2-bedroom would be 2 spaces per dwelling unit.
Pat, can I interrupt you for one moment?
Yes, sir.
With respect to that parking, if you were to make the change as you're contemplating here, it will affect parking throughout that whole PDD number 60. I'm wondering if we should maybe create your proposed standards applicable to Site G.
Yeah, I
In
have
order
no
to
problem.
not
I have no problem
disturb-
doing that.
I don't know whether or not it would happen, but it's conceivable that the lower parking ratio might free up potential density, and we'll get proposals to modify other projects that have already been approved.
Understand. And yeah, that's, I was wondering about how we could limit this, and actually some of our standards might change a little bit. This is fairly broad and fairly
Mhm.
overarching. You got 100% impervious and 90% building coverage and things like that, which we don't necessarily need for our proposal. So I mean, we could create a schedule of standards that is directly tied to
I don't think you
that
need
piece
to,
of
I don't
property.
think you need to create a whole new schedule of standards, Pat. I think just where you're looking to modify them.
Okay.
I don't care about the dwelling unit size. We can talk about that. And I don't really care about the option to be able to have studio units. That's good. But the parking is a little bit, it's pertinent to a rental project, but some portions of that PDD were contemplated as condominiums, and condominiums would probably require more parking.
Right.
So I
Tony,
think,
Tony, along that same line of thinking though, wasn't there, and my memory may be failing, but wasn't there a set number of dwelling units associated with that PDD as well?
there was a number that was put out there. I'd have to go back and read the decision to see whether that's something cast in stone or it's within your ability to modify it.
Okay, I'm pretty sure there was a set number, and I think it was somewhere between 600 and 1,000 for the entire PDD. So just to bring that to the forefront as well.
Yeah, and one of the other things I think we need to straighten out is the subject site for this proposal incorporates something that was not part of Site G. It includes a part of something that was identified as one of the J parcels, which was some sort of an open space designation. So we're going to need to look at some areas that have not been touched upon yet. But we can discuss that maybe in a tech session with the applicant.
Right. Understand. Yeah, our piece, which is the Site G, the Watts River Tower with 281 Canal Street. is referred
Plus a
to.
piece across the street, Canal Street.
Well, the piece across the street is not owned by us. It's purely, what I'll show you is purely a suggestion that's currently part of what's being done by the city for the redevelopment of Canal Street.
Okay, so you're not intending to incorporate that as part of your development then?
No, but we know that we've talked about providing parking for the public down at that end and a turnaround of some kind. And those are things that we didn't want to lose sight of. And we were waiting for the city engineer to share with us the drawings that are being done for Canal Street, so we can have some input into that.
Okay, we need to clear up our drawings because, your drawing A100 shows the parking across the street and it doesn't say it's for others. In fact, I was going to question you, are those 24 spaces included in your count?
They are not.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, no, they're not.
So 192 is without.
So this is the lower level. Canal Street is up at elevation 28 approximately, runs between 25 and 28. We come into our property off of Canal down this ramp that brings us down to about elevation 116. I'm sorry, it's 128 and 116. The flood elevation in this area is 125, actually. Way up, which comes up onto portions of Canal Street. But anything that is down in this level is purely going to be stairways and parking spaces and public space. No living units or facilities for running the building. They'll all be above flood.
So basically, that's the underground parking underneath.
The underground parking, which for the most part is under the building.
Right.
There are some sections that are outside of the building on either side along this area. There are 160 parking spaces down there.
What about you're going to have special provisions for the mechanical elevators and stuff that go down to that level?
Yeah, the elevator machine rooms now can be anywhere. They're
Okay.
basically part of the shaft, so they normally will actually put them on the top floor. It's a little easier for them actually, based on the type of elevators. But the electrical, the water and gas, if we have gas, would be all above the flood elevation. They'd have to be on the first floor.
Mr. Rose,
Yes.
that top left corner as it appears on the screen, looks like it's pretty close to the Riverwalk. And is there any kind of extra special retaining walls or work that has to be done to reinforce the hill that goes down to the water?
Well, you
There's
need a
actually
bulkhead. Yeah.
There actually is a bulkhead that runs all the way around, except in this location right here, where it has since fallen away and it'll have to be rebuilt. Where it previously was. So, and we've done some soil test pits. Their soils that are there are very good, very good. We're still gonna have to do borings and identify soils all the way down to make sure that we have no, unsuitables in lower areas. If this was filled in at one time, which it probably was, because they built a bulkhead all the way around.
How wide and thick is that bulkhead?
It's hard to tell how deep it is. It's mostly made of stone, and it's been there a very long time. They only lost a small portion of it when they took a building down that was in this location.
Okay, all right, but you're acknowledging that you're acknowledging that the condition that exists and that it will be improved.
Yes, it'll be improved. So we have.
Mr. Rose,
Yes.
I can't read the where the orange is. What is that?
That's a seating area. You got seating area.
Oh, okay, it's outside patio or something.
Right, outside patio. The walkway comes around, and then it goes into here, up this ramp, comes you back onto Canal Street.
Okay.
So you got a 10 to 11 foot grade change. You got to.
And how about garbage removal? How is that going to be undertaken?
Garbage removal we have in this location right here is a garbage room. There'll be a chute that will come down. They'll pull out the containers out to here and they'll get picked up. Go back, face in, back around and come back out.
So there's only one for?
There's one room. There's one room per building, for the building, correct.
Okay, that's enough, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be enough. They'll be able to pick up as necessary for the number of people, number of units.
I think we're talking about the convenience of them to all of the units. Is that reasonably convenient in your mind?
Yes, because actually on this side, we've also put the mail on the first floor. You've got two cores in this building, one here and one here. So it's a U-shaped building you'll see. And those are the two knuckles of the building where we put the building core.
Is that seating for the tenants only, or is it public seating?
That's a question that Don probably would have to
Well,
answer.
We wanted to split this up into two sections. Now, we wanted to have seating near the ramp that's going up. The one with the orange, that was supposed to be for the building.
For the building.
Right, and the other one where the ramps is where we want to
Go
put
this
that
way.
whole area I want to do for open space.
Okay,
Storyboards, maybe to let everybody know about the locks and some seating, because that's really
Nice.
beautiful area over there.
okay.
What are you referring to as the orange?
This right here.
On the left,
Oh, okay, up there.
Upper left, it's a
Right.
different color. The seating came out a different color.
So it'll be fenced in from the Riverwalk.
Yeah, it'll have to be separated.
Okay,
Would probably be separated by elevation anyhow.
Yeah, it does. It drops as you go towards the water. Yeah. Okay, let me go to the next sheet. This sheet just showed a suggestion that on this piece of property, which is on by Brook Street, that we can have a place for a hammerhead turnaround and we could put some public parking here. Still needs to be flushed out with the city engineer and his designer for Canal Street being redone. The first floor of the building, this is where you enter going down to the lower level. You come in here and there's a little quad that has 30 parking spaces in it. And there's an entrance into each of these corners of the building, which brings you to the elevator, mail room on this side, elevator, office, and fitness center on this side. And then on this end of the building here, closest to the lock, we've created a retail space that, we envision it could be an ice cream shop, right? Or retail associated for convenience, anything.
I'm on a Zoom call.
So
Yeah.
it's a placeholder at the moment.
Yeah, but let me explain that a little bit more.
Yep,
So
go ahead.
that what we're looking to do down there for a commercial, it really would be, like a convenience coffee / maybe a little ice cream shop for any of the people down there for the apartments, to save it's walking distance, and for the people that come down to see the locks, it could be, or probably will be self-run. We would probably handle that.
okay.
It's just more of convenience. We thought that would be a nice thing.
Okay.
Nice touch.
So the number of 129 apartments in the building, what we've got are 40 studios, 77 one-bedrooms, and 12 two-bedrooms. So the majority of the project is studios and one-bedrooms. We put the two bedrooms in corners where you've got two exposures. That makes the most sense where they go. The studios range between 501 square feet and 586 square feet. The one bedrooms range between 644 and 896 square feet. And the two bedrooms range between 975 and 1330 square feet. Fairly standard for size of units that we've seen in the area being developed. So altogether, with its 30 spaces here on the first floor and the 162 below, that's the 192 parking spaces being proposed and to be provided.
That's included within the rent, right?
That's it. I'm sorry, Charlie.
That's included within the rent?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it's
Right.
included.
So you can't access the lower parking from that parking deck, correct?
No, you can't. You'd have to come out and go down the ramp.
So would those be considered premium parking places?
No, I would think that the premium parking places would be underneath the building, undercover.
Oh, okay, so this is not
Right.
undercover. Okay.
No, you could, from the elevator, you could get down there. Am I
Oh, yeah,
correct?
yeah, absolutely.
Internally from the elevator, you would.
Yeah, but you can't
Absolutely.
drive. You can't drive your car down.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but it's right around the end of the building, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Second and third floors, which are identical, each have 34 units per floor. And we have a lounge on one floor and a business center on another floor in this location. And then we put storage in this location behind this elevator. So there'll be some storage within the building that can be rented. Similar, we've got 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms in the corners, and studios in various places. The 4th floor, as you come off the elevator in this location, we put a community room here, which opens out to a deck, which is covered by a roof on this corner, which you have views to the river and up the river to the spillway. So that's a nice spot for that. And then at the end of this both of these wings, we have created an exterior deck that is not covered. So from either way, you still have views to the water off the side, and then it's along Canal Street. So there are I believe there are there are 29 units on the 4th floor.
Okay, so the exterior is only on the 4th floor, right? Deck.
The decks, yeah, the two outside decks on the 4th floor, and the covered deck is on the 4th floor. Correct.
So you get there through the hallway? I mean, they're not part of a unit, right?
No, they're not part of you. You get through at the end of this hallway next to the stairway. That's the access.
Okay, and they'll
Both
be
sides.
used just by the people within the units,
By,
right?
by the people of the units. They come up the elevator, go walk down the hallway, or come up the elevator, go around the corner, and they can get through the community room to the exterior deck that's covered.
Okay.
Okay. Building, I'm going to go to the rendering because it tells a better story, at least for the front of the building. This is Canal Street along here. This is the retail portion of 1,700 square feet. It's on the 1st floor, closest to the lock. This is the courtyard that has the 30 parking spaces in it. And then you have 2 entrances, one here and a bookend entrance on the other side under this tower.
So those decks, if you looked at it, would be part of that hip roof, right?
Right. This hip roof right here is a deck, and one over here also.
Right, okay, thank you.
Yep. 1st floor, what we've done is brick along the areas of the 1st floor. We've created this center brick with a gable that continues around, and then we on this end of each of these wings, we've gone brick all the way up into the gable. Above that, we've got clapboard and then shakes on the 4th floor, and we've got simulated wood on all of these bump outs, these bay windows. What we're trying to do is emulate to some degree what the colors and materials that we used at Cedar Village at Carroll's. It's just trying to tie it in together a little bit. The architecture may be a little different to some degree, but trying to tie it together with things that Don has done previously.
How are you going to manage the parking there?
By numbers, you mean?
Yeah, so that people, the general public don't take up the spaces as
Yeah,
they're,
it'll be just like the other building. It's all gonna have to be numbered.
and signage, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but
We
you're gonna have
usually
visitors parking too, no?
And we have enough. We could do that. So and if we do that, it'll be obviously right up top.
Yeah, they
Just
should
put
be
them up.
identified other than.
Yeah, yeah.
How about your lower parking? Is that going to be gated or is that going to be open?
That's probably gonna be open. You know, it's the gated, I mean, I don't know, we didn't discuss that yet.
Just something to think about.
I know, I'm just, we usually leave it so I can gate it in the future. So I do have, you know, I didn't decide that yet. But again, all the lower spots will be marked as well. There'll be signage everywhere. There's cameras. We have everything cameraed. So, you know, I feel like it'll be, you know, it should be fine. But we do put signs in the front before people enter the premises.
So you wouldn't have any concerns about someone maybe taking a tenant space and walking down and doing some fishing?
No, I'm sure I'm gonna be concerned. I have to deal with that everywhere.
Yeah. So,
I'm sure the management company's getting a call right now on the other room.
yeah,
So,
Yeah.
but knock on wood, it is pretty good. You know, yeah, I'm gonna knock on wood again. We have been, you know, we have that parking. We have the parking, believe it or not, I'll even stick extra. We'll get more parking. When it's amazing what we create. And we learned that from you guys at the beginning of the first project with Tandem. It works out great. There'll be spots here we can do that. You know, so there's gonna be I'm excited about the amount of parking. So, well, the numbers usually work good. We don't usually have a problem.
I would just like to go on the record that I would encourage the applicant to do something where that lower level parking does start off with something that needs a fob or something to go past a barrier arm. Just so right at the beginning, from the get-go, people understand this is not public parking.
Yeah,
You know, I would hate to have you have to deal with someone seeing that this is a slightly secluded area as,
I understand.
you know, somebody's car gets left there and they walk away from it, you know.
It's not a
Trouble
problem.
with that is it limits your visitor parking then to this upper lot.
That's
And it's only
correct.
32 spaces to begin with.
Mm-hmm,
You got
Yeah, but that's where it
126
should be.
units.
I
exactly.
wouldn't want visitor parking down bottom.
No,
I think it should be up top. And again, I've spoke to Primrose, to John Getz on where I believe they might own a piece of the property across the street that we are talking about. I am talking to Mr. Watts regarding another little piece of property. Anything we do across the street. And that's what I said, we will be willing to help and put visitor parking for the whole town.
Mm-hmm,
You know, any spot across Canal Street will help with that. You know, it's just, I don't own the property, so I can't only do so much, but there is one piece, and anything we do across, it's gonna be for visitor parking. When this building goes up and that whole end is done, yes, people are gonna come down, they're gonna wanna go see this. They really are. It's gonna be enticing, and I wanna get as much parking on any town property, you know, anything, or and we'll help.
Yeah, so but some thought should also be given to the fact that public parking, which is very generous to provide public parking for people to go down and enjoy the canal and stuff, but it shouldn't be used by all the under parking facilities that we have further down, that they're going to be using that place. So, you know, whether it's no overnight parking or something, you know,
Agreed.
indicating that it should not be used by tenants of the other buildings.
Absolutely. And it could be short term on parking like that. You know, you figure like, who's gonna monitor that? You know, who's gonna be monitoring it? That's probably me. So it's just, if you put the signs, well, you know, you just can't have overnight parking.
Right.
Simple, you know.
So am I to understand then that if the city can work with you to provide the room, that you would be willing to construct some public parking?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And again, I have met with John Getz on that too, on anything he owns, you know, we're working together on that, you know. I have
Good.
it only benefits the town, and again, it's gonna be an area I think people are gonna want to come down there.
Just to go back one, I'll show you the elevations of the rest of showed you the front, the rear of the building, which faces the river, parking underneath, and the 4 stories above. And this is the covered outdoor patio on that top floor. And then this is the ramp that it comes down to the parking. And that is your outside deck on the 4th floor. And again, facing the river and the spillway, this is the other portion of the covered roof deck. And this is the open roof deck on this side, and then the retail, which is accessed up at Canal Street.
Will your mechanicals be located on the roof inside that
the dog houses, yeah.
top flat area?
Yeah, there's going to be these are mansards, so
Mhm.
that there will be a flat section of roof that runs all the way around the U that we'll be able to put condensers on.
And they will not be visible.
They will not be visible. The only
Okay.
place that you'll probably end up with some visible condensers are on these roof decks because there are units below them. That we'll have a portion of them screened off that'll have some condensers on them.
Okay.
No
But they-
balconies,
they'd be
just bow
visible from the-
windows.
From the deck,
It'd be separate from the deck, yeah.
but the visibility would be from the deck side, not from the street.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah. correct.
Pat, where do you think you're gonna be handling ground level stuff like transformers and things of that sort?
Transformer for
Not
the
room
project.
for it.
Transformer is probably, we're gonna end up having to find a spot for it, in, this corner or in here somewhere.
Yeah,
We've got to
We
work
really
that
need,
out.
we need to
UI.
think about it, not let it be an afterthought,
Yep, yeah, we'll have to talk to UI as to where we're gonna put it.
Yeah, and the UI can be a pain in the neck sometimes.
Yes, they can, but they actually been great to work with. And they give us a lot of ideas with putting, you're
Maybe,
gonna have one transformer and then we usually try to line them up outside.
how many transformers would you need for this building? One,
Well, I'm assuming it's gonna be one at the moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, usually
or
it's
at least in one location, if it has to be more than one transformer, but in one location?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it's gonna end up being closest to the road, because that's where their feed's gonna come down. But we're gonna end up having to take a portion of something and make it electrical room, on that
Right.
level.
Perhaps there's some spot on the locks side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's possible. We've got to investigate and see how far down, their feed comes. That's what
Yeah,
we
we need to get, we're gonna need to get something a little bit with a little more detail as a site plan. So
Yeah,
we
I
can
understand.
see the roadways and stuff like that and see what we have to work with.
I don't think they'll put it on the lock side, but
I don't think they will either.
I don't think it comes down that far.
no, I don't think. Is it going to be underground or your utilities coming down Canal Street? Are they all underground? I can't
No,
remember.
they're above ground right
They're
now.
above ground currently.
But we're looking to get them underground.
I mean, it's a question. I don't know what the city's looking to do with their improvement to Canal Street, we haven't been involved in it, and.
Well, has anything been brought down the road or no?
I thought it has.
Yeah.
That's what I thought too.
Aren't they
That's why I'm asking.
underground? Aren't they underground near the Avalon project?
Yes, they
Yeah, I
did.
think they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they've been doing some work on the gas feeds, I know, in Canal Street. So I mean, some of this stuff is being prepared for, I believe.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the conduits were definitely put in there.
Okay. So I'd done a little research on parking in the area, at least projects that I have been involved with, just so I could, make myself feel better that I believe that we have the correct ratios. Is that when I look at the Cedar Village, Don's project, for both phase 1 and 2, he has 63 units and 76 parking spaces. So that's at 1.2. And he said that's working well, for him. 502 Howe Avenue has 56 units and 90 parking spaces. That's at 1.6 per dwelling unit, but they've got a coffee shop and bank. So there's a little more going on in that building.
Well, the thing though, Pat, is when you're up in that area, there's a relief. If you run out of parking on site, there's curb parking, there's a municipal parking across the street. When you get down in here, there's no relief.
There's
You
no
either
place to
park
park.
there or you don't park.
Right.
Yeah.
Bridge Street Commons was at 116 units and 149 parking spaces. That's 1.28. And then the recently approved Canal Street was 30 units and 38 parking spaces. That's 1.26. So we're proposing the 129 and 192, which is at 1.48, basically 1.5 per unit. Yeah, I just wanted to run those by you. I know parking is always the question.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. Are there any affordable set aside units or no?
Yeah, I'm gonna say we're gonna do the same thing we've been doing. I mean,
Which
I
is
believe-
10%?
yeah, you know what I mean? I think that's what you recommend, and it's, if works out, if that's what everybody, the town wants to do, and we'll do it. We haven't had an issue, so.
Fortunately, the rates are pretty good up in this area.
Right,
So you're not
Yeah.
gonna get hurt too badly.
no, and it's been working good. I mean, we're on that in Cedar Village, so
Okay.
we'll do that again here.
And
Any-
the height of the building is,
Height of the building is 57 feet. Please.
what is it?
Let me go back to the elevation, just so I can
Okay.
never, I don't want to misspeak. From the lowest level, it's 57.3 to the top of the parapet. So,
Oh,
since
that's
we've
pretty-
got
That's
foot
including
level,
your
it's
parking level, right?
probably like 52 feet is an average grade. Probably.
Right. That's pretty good.
But from the sidewalk, it's a lot lower.
Yeah, it's a lot lower.
Oh, yeah,
It's
right.
12 feet lower. So,
Yeah.
it's 45.
Yeah.
Any,
Plus you stepped out the part that's closest to the walk. You stepped it down with the decks on top, right?
Yes, correct. So it's even lower where the ends of the building are. You're 30.
Face, that
30,
end face
35
is
feet.
really much lower.
Correct. If you look at
Yeah,
this.
there you go.
right
See
here,
it?
It's really 35 feet, to that.
Yeah.
to the parapet.
So the visual impact on Canal Street is very good.
Yeah.
I love
what
the
is the
idea of the open area on the fourth floor. The one that's open, it's just that may have to be monitored a little bit for the party goers,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know?
but to some degree, what you do on two sides of it, if we have condensers, we'll have a fence or something else to stop people from being able to get to the edge of the roof.
Yeah. I
well,
hope,
it's not gonna be open.
Pat, on this elevation that we're looking at, can you just review one more time the surface treatments?
Yeah, you've got brick on this first floor, it wraps all the way
Okay.
around.
What's below it now? Concrete?
Concrete, that's concrete foundation wall.
Okay.
Above that is siding.
Okay.
You got vinyl clapboard,
Vinyl horizontal?
vinyl horizontal clapboard, and then you've got vinyl shakes
Shakes,
on the
vinyl
fourth
shakes.
floor.
Okay. And the roof?
Architectural fiberglass shingles.
Okay. And those rooftop dormers, they're just dummies, right?
They're just dummies. At the best, they provide a little ventilation for the roof for the mansard space. That's all.
Will you get enough natural ventilation at your parking level?
Yes.
All
Yes.
open.
So it'll be an open parking structure because it's really open on almost three sides.
Yeah, 2.5 sides, right?
Yeah.
you don't need any screening or anything, do you?
Yeah, the security aspect.
Yeah, like you did I think you did that up at the Carol's, didn't you?
Yeah, we're still doing that. You know what? It's funny. I mean, at Blacks, this is gonna be so much light. It's nice to keep the light. I don't like when you close the screening. We're still trying to order the correct screening for Cedar Village too, because it just looks horrible. And
Yeah.
I want the light to come in. The natural light's nice. When you close it off, it's just like,
I know, but you
agree.
have to keep honest people honest too.
yeah, I know.
That's the
I
biggest problem.
I know.
But-
So,
But I mean, you're talking about a significant area to have to screen because this
Right.
is open on 2.5 sides to the lower level.
Could we look at the elevation from the lock side?
Yes. This is the lock side, and the lock wall itself steps down along here.
Yeah, because you got that ramp, that stairway ramp system, right?
You've got a ramp system that's bringing you up from this lower level up to Canal Street.
Right.
And that the locks are up at the beginning of a canal, because there's a bridge that goes over the lock.
Yeah, and that's it's good in the sense of having a nice, comfortable public sidewalk connection down to the lower level walkway. But it also exposes your part of the building to the public.
Right, exactly.
Correct.
Yeah.
And like I said,
Gotta
there's
be
this
careful with
significant
your
area,
security issues.
significant area that you'd have to close off, which
Yeah.
I would hate to see
You know
that
what?
happen.
You're gonna have the same thing, Tony, and all the commission members. You're gonna have the same thing when we have outside parking lots. You know, that's why we have a good security system with the cameras. They're actually on my phone. You know what I mean? It's hard to stop it, but I don't want to have a fortress either. I
No,
just
you're
want
right.
I want it
No,
to be
I-
open.
I understand that, but you know, if you get someone to walk in there,
Mhm.
they can use the elevator, they can get up to the, on the
No.
floors?
Car control air elevator.
Okay,
No.
all right.
No,
Well,
in front of those
you're
elevators. to
also
be-
concerned
yeah.
about the physical security of the people that park their car there.
Right,
Yes,
Exactly.
yeah, exactly. No, I agree. I wouldn't want to do it something right so it doesn't look,
Yeah.
exactly, right. I
you
agree.
know, something nice.
So you are looking at something or not?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, and again, on the other side might be like this side with the locks, that's right where the water, obviously, they're not gonna be putting meters on that side. But the other side might be closed in, some of it. Where some of the meters might have to go, you know, that we've already met, I have spoken to UI already. Because some, you know, either we're gonna put a room inside, and I don't know why they don't like it, but a lot of times they don't like to be inside with the metering for some
Or they
reason.
like to be able to read them electronically.
Yeah, but the
Yeah,
electronic,
Their
You
vehicle.
can't have logical conversations.
yeah, no. Yeah, so
I've
we're
put them all
working,
my life.
we're working with them. And I'll work on something with the fencing too. I just want to come up with something that looks nice. That's all. That
Okay.
keeps the light in as well. Out,
Yeah.
and
in
keeps
out.
others out.
Yeah,
Yeah, you have to think of the security of your tenant too, you know.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
Well,
a
if you
single
ha-
person coming home at night, you know, they
Yeah.
want to feel secure that there's not people lurking around the cars.
yeah, I understand.
Even with cameras, I mean, it's, you know, by the time somebody sees the camera.
Yes. I
Cameras are
get you.
just to investigate. That's what cameras are for.
Yeah,
Yeah, cameras are good for after, but
yeah.
Any other questions?
Any electrical charging stations?
Yes, Elaine,
There
good
will
thing, yes, I forgot to do that. That's actually, we discussed in the workshop sessions, and we've already been working on that because the UI has all the incentives now, and we are gonna put them in.
Does that complicate your parking?
No, you always can move, and we have done it in the other buildings too. We've adjusted spots, so you if you have to, you can move them around. It's not like one person always has that, we're gonna have enough to adjust them. We can move them around. So I'm not gonna say how many stations we're gonna put in, but UI will put them in for us. They'll give us the money. So,
Yeah, they will.
how do
Well, I think
people
a
handle
building
that?
this
Do
size,
they,
you want at least a half a dozen.
do they
Yeah.
only allow people to park there for a certain amount of time while they're charging, or can they park there overnight? What are
So
people
what-
doing with that?
well, what they do on this for the people that have electric, cars, which, I haven't had any yet, but that would be their spot. And then you might have, if I have any visitors, I don't know, I don't know where else we would put them, but they would be in an area where people can get to them, but I don't know, does it work for not people coming by? It's usually the people that are in the building.
Right.
Right, it should be just for the tenants. It shouldn't be
Right.
for visitors,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, so you have a car, that's when we have to adjust your parking spot. You have which is never an issue.
Yeah.
Now, I've had a couple times where it's young ladies that are coming, we want them closer to the doors, we're always moving them around.
So you don't have any electrical vehicles in your Cedar Village, your
No,
Cedar?
I don't. I haven't had anybody ask me either.
Oh,
Well,
And I
Surprised.
don't, yeah, me too. I don't know.
But you have
Um,
stations.
I'm sorry, you broke up. What's that?
You have charging stations ready to go over
Yeah,
there.
yes, yeah. I don't have, no, I do not have any in there, but we have spoke to UI. And it's
Uh-huh.
not a big deal. I mean, I used to put them in for other people in housing too. It's not, if I needed one, I can do it. So,
So are you saying that when you talk about that would be their parking space? If you have a tenant with an electric vehicle, the
yes,
space that they would be assigned is right adjacent to the EV station?
yes,
So what if circumstances change throughout the year? And if you do have an excess of, you've indicated that you have enough parking, why wouldn't you have, say, 2 spaces that are just to be used when a vehicle has to be charged, no matter whose it is, of which of the tenants have that necessity?
Which- What you're saying, Jenny, I think is that you're anticipating that there might be, half a dozen people that need a charging station, and then how do they use one space?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not sure as how many would, but this past week when we were out of state and we stayed in a very large hotel complex, right outside the window, we looked down from the 3rd floor onto where their EV stations were. There were 2 of them, and vehicles would come and go. And there was one, and my husband was the one that says, here, there's a Rivian right there. So we had to walk by it all the time to get to where our car was parked. And it was interesting to see where the hose was connected into the corner of that particular vehicle. And that particular one came and went. And I think one time he was there overnight, but then the space would free up and wouldn't be used for a while, and somebody else would in a different vehicle. So that was,
Yeah.
yeah, but a hotel would be a little bit different than a residential building.
Exactly.
yeah,
I mean, that
I
would be
could,
like a parking lot for a shopping center or something.
yes, yeah, I could see that. I just don't know if it's wise to restrict
no,
the
Yeah,
parking space to just. the
Well, you
I
can
get it.
always add more stations too.
exactly.
And I think over time, it's going to change how
Yeah.
you're doing it to some degree, because, right now, I have an electric car and I have to charge mine. If it's 240, I've got to charge it for 6 to 8 hours. So it's going to stay there overnight.
Right.
Charge. You're not going to do fast chargers because they're too expensive.
That's a what, Class 2 you got?
Yeah, class 2. So, yeah, so
Yeah,
that's.
so it
that's what
actually
you're
makes
probably-
sense to have somebody that's leasing an apartment that has
Yeah.
an electric car to have an electric car parking place, right? Rather than
Right.
taking up another spot because otherwise regular cars will just take up the EV spots.
But
Yeah.
in certain cases, though, your electric car, you're not going to use the whole charge, and you'll probably only charge maybe every 5 or 6 days, depending how far you're driving, every day. So I mean, there's going to be cases where people know who has the electric cars, and they're going to say, "Oh, you're charging your car today? No, I'll move mine over there." If they're
Right.
trouble getting to them.
Yeah.
So
Well,
No, you have to remember what
More
Pat's
proper.
saying is because as you get higher in the amperage or higher, faster charge, the more amperage you're going to use, and you're going to need a huge service for that. So
Right.
normally it's a number 2 charge at this
Right.
point.
Don, who
Yes.
pays for that?
who pays for what?
The electricity to charge these cars?
That's a good question, but I think that's the house.
The unit
Yeah,
or you?
no, I don't know.
I would think it would be the user that has to put in a
Yeah.
credit card or something.
Right.
So, well, that's true. That's what they are. They are, that would be the credit card.
Oh, so
Whoever's
it's credit
using.
card. Okay.
Yeah, that's what they do. They normally put in a credit card
Yeah,
for that.
That's why when I sat, UI's really been working with us with that, which has been working out good. So I'm gonna, I still have to, this will be the first building that we're doing it. And I want to make sure we have enough of them. It's like when we set up Cedar Village, the other ones for the solar as well. When we go to the roof, we put all our condensers behind the mansard. So the whole middle's open for future for the solar. So we set all the buildings up for solar.
Mhm.
So it's, you know, just like the charging stations, you know, they're more, you know what I mean? If we need
Mhm.
more, but UI, I'm gonna take the advantage and have them help us with it.
I
Sure.
don't blame you, I would.
Yeah, I would just recommend that you look at the different options as to whether or not to restrict an EV parking space to a tenant or have a couple that are just to be used when a vehicle needs to be charged, and you know, people can come and go. And if
Yes,
it's used overnight, it's used overnight, and the next person has to wait.
But don't you do the same for handicap?
Mm, I don't know. I don't have that much experience with that.
No, I'm saying you know, if a tenant is handicapped, he has handicap parking space.
yes,
But if you
That would
don't,
be-
it's taking up a spot. It's taking away from the parking
Right.
ratio.
Yeah, this change over time. Everybody's gonna adjust to this. It's gonna be changing.
Yeah, the technology is going to change over time.
it is.
Well, People that have electric vehicles, assume that's gonna go up, and it's gonna create some adjustment
yes.
pain.
We have a lot of adjustments to do before that happens, so. That's for sure.
Mr.
That's
Rose,
for
I
sure.
see one handicap space is on that first floor. Outside in the little courtyard. Are there any specifically designated in the parking garage underneath?
Yeah.
Oh, I see 3 there.
See him?
Yep, no, I do. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, one other comment I have before I put myself back on mute. I personally appreciate seeing the elevation from Canal Street. Do you have anything in preparation to show an elevation from the river as we requested of Mr. Getz when we were working on the Park Royal?
Oh, you're talking about a rendering,
Mhm,
Jenny,
mhm.
from the river?
Mhm.
We certainly could look at getting another view done. I mean, it's,
Thank you.
Yeah, view of that corner where the outdoor space and the enclosed space is would be a good
Right.
idea.
right.
Yeah, because then it'll also pick up how the ramps interconnect from the river walk up to the street level.
Some of that detail we might not know until we start taking a building down. I don't know what's built into that and what's not,
Yeah,
Warner.
so you did finally get permission from the state to be able to take that building down?
Well, we're in the works. Mr. Watts is in the works of emptying the building. The building's in very bad shape and, you know, we're looking to either it's gonna be condemned or, you know, we have structural people looking at it. It's a mess. So he's in the middle of, it's actually pretty cleaned up right now. I went and witnessed it yesterday. It's amazing. It really is, all the stuff that's out of there. So we're working on it. You know, I gotta see where, again, you know, what we're doing here, and then that's the next step.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're at the conceptual stage. And
Yeah.
hopefully we can get a basic decision made on that. And if it's a go, then you got to move on to your detailed design phase.
Exactly.
But in the meantime, you know, you got a lot of site clearance to do.
Well, I have a lot of cleanup.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of work here. This is why, I mean, to do the amount of work that we have to do in there is with cleanup and everything, you know, it's not cheap, as we know. And that's why I want to make a nice building, something that's going to look beautiful. And again, the size with the amount of units, you know, I want to do the whole end here. We want to put we're going to do the river walk ourselves. You know, we're putting that in where you want to connect. We want to do this whole thing on the end.
Do you anticipate any environmental issues with site cleanup?
No, there has been, the town has tested all that already. We have all the phase 1, 2, and 3 done on it.
Okay, so
So
you're
there,
clear to,
it's nothing bad. I mean, there's just the normal there. I'm sure there's stuff in the building. We're going through that now. But there's, the cleanup in the ground is not, it's pretty minimal.
okay,
You know, we've been working with Paul Grimmer on there, you know, with all the results that they have received.
mhm.
But it's the big building that's there, you know, we have a lot of work to take that down, but I want to get through this part first.
It's a big building you're gonna put back.
Yes, yes.
That's
I
for
just-
sure.
Yeah,
Okay,
Okay. If there's, is there any other questions that the PCC would like for the applicant, or? If not, is there any member of the public participating remotely that would like to comment on this application? Need to use the Zoom, raise your hand feature or dial 9 on your phone to be identified. Mr. Rossetti, is there any member of the public or Zoom via phone who have indicated they wish to speak?
No one yet.
Okay,
Nope.
all right. If not,
can I just ask?
Sure.
whether,
go right ahead.
whether we can get a little bit more site engineering in terms of the layouts of exactly where the driveways are and the dimensions, et cetera.
yeah, we're currently working on that, Tony, to submit.
Okay.
I understand you may, continue this and we can present that.
Yeah, right.
And a little bit of your thoughts, Pat, on how you would design that interconnecting stairway for the public at the end of the street, sidewalk level down to the Riverwalk.
Right. Yeah, we'll have more detail on that, yes.
Even though it's not necessarily final design, but at least your concept.
All right, so does the PCC wish to continue or close the public hearing?
I would strongly recommend, Mr. Chairman, that the commission continue the public hearing, seeing that we did not have a full commission here tonight. And
I agree with you.
Commissioners Tiki and Lascos were not able to attend. So I'd make a motion to continue the public hearing for application 2225.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second that, Commissioner Matto.
Okay, so a motion to continue the public hearing was by Commissioner Harger, second by Commissioner Motto. And the chair will do a roll call. Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
Commissioner Harger,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
Alter Commissioner Napio,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. The continuation of the public hearing will be on the agenda for a coming meeting. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
The next agenda item is application 2214 S&G on Shelton LLC. This public hearing for the application opened July 20th, 2022, during which the time the commissioner heard from Attorney Thomas, the applicant architect and engineer. 4 members of the public spoke. At the continuation of the public hearing on October 19th, the commission reviewed a revised site plan. New material posted on the city website as a revised site plan and a letter from the fire marshal. Mr. Rossetti, are there any other reports, material, correspondence received within the time period of this application that need to be acknowledged for this record?
Nothing additional.
Okay, is the applicant or is representative present?
Attorney Dominic Thomas, Cohen and Thomas, 315 Main Street, Durban, Connecticut, representing the
Yes,
applicant.
Ben Perry.
Okay,
And Ben Perry and Pat Rose are here. Based on the last hearing we had, that we were discussing a concept plan, and the intent was to have a work session with your staff. We were able to have some conversations, and as a result of that, Pat Rose will explain the changes that we made, reduction in units, and how the site issues were addressed. I do want to, before I turn it over to Pat, since at a prior public hearing on a prior project, commission members brought up the issue of the WPCA with respect to apartments. And I don't know whether you're going to bring it up with this, but I will just tell you that I went to the WPCA administrator and explained the questioning that was done, and we were told that it is the policy now of the WPCA that an application for a project is received. Once it is received, all final approval. And normally it would go there after PDD approval, but the administrator said they now have a position where you can go to the WPCA once, if you're in a sewered area. It's totally different if you're going to extend a sewer line. But if you're in a sewered area, you go there after you've received all your final site development plan approval. So that is their position at this point.
So that would be at the end.
That would be at the end. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing you do that forces them to do anything.
How does the commission, how is the commission
How do they
guided
know?
with respect to increasing volumes beyond what's allowed by current zoning?
I don't understand what you mean by that. It is not,
Well, if the
First
commission is
of all,
considering a
there are-
PDD,
no, there are case laws, understanding, that say WPCA is not a planning and zoning commission. They don't deal in uses. If they have capacity, they give you capacity. If someone goes through this and you're in a non-sewer area, that's totally different. If you're in a sewer area and they have capacity, they give you capacity.
What if they don't?
when the
That's the
WPCA
big
is
thing.
established-
Then you just wasted a whole bunch of wasted time and money and energy on lawyers, engineers, architects, and everybody else.
So they could
They
reject,
can't deny you capacity if they have capacity. They-
say they
Or
cannot
could
deny
they-
you if they have capacity?
Excuse me?
Did you say they cannot deny you if they have capacity?
Correct.
Even though their planning of their sewer plant anticipated a much lower flow from a certain site?
No, they don't anticipate slow. They have various regional areas. So it requires you, there's two things separate here. Obviously, an applicant doing due diligence can talk to WPCA and wants to talk to the WPCA when they're proposing a project. There's a difference between that and getting an approval, getting the approval. So you can find out, yes, you take the same risk if you develop a project and you don't get approval from the health department because your test pits don't work out right.
But
You-
it makes the commission look awful stupid if
No,
they grant an approval only to find out that WPCA can't serve you.
Okay,
It's like putting the cart before the horse.
well, I'm just telling you what their thing is. No, it's not. It's operated like this for the 35, 40 years that I've been doing zoning. So I don't know where is it. If it is a non-sewered area, it is a totally different thing.
No, but
If
in the
this-
sewer area, when the WPCA decided to expand its sewer plant, it's based it on future land use throughout
Right.
the city and what's included and what's excluded. So now we're proposing through a zoning process to potentially change a site from a lower generation to a higher generation of flow.
Well,
So we're
wait
eating
a second.
capacity from the WPCA that was
well,
originally allocated somewhere else.
I don't know that answer. I'm just telling you what the WPCA said. You asked the question. I'm giving you the answer. It's not me. And like this project or any of these other projects that you're talking about, this is what they say, come in later.
So
They
Dominic, did
come
they
in at the
also,
end. That's their
Attorney
position.
Thomas, did they also say that if they don't have the capacity, rather than denying, they could ask you to fund whatever needs to be done to make it?
Absolutely. If, for example, a large project goes in and there needs to be an increase in the size of the lines, there needs to be an increase to pump station, that's going to be on the developer. So that's what the
The
developer.
concern is this, the treatment plant.
Huh?
The concern is really the treatment.
right back.
I think, I don't mean to say that, I think you have a concern about the treatment plant. I think that they know that they have the ability to make a decision if there's a problem. It's divided into zones. Understand this, it's divided into various zones in the
Right.
Seward area.
Right.
Okay, so if you're a developer, you need to do your homework to make sure your zone, what are the issues in your zone? It doesn't mean you go and get an approval. There's nothing you do that forces them to do anything. So you have to,
Well,
as Commissioner
that's-
Parkin said, probably the best example I can recall is a major project now known as the Renaissance. I believe that the developer of that, a slightly known individual who's done some things in Shelton, ended off, my understanding, having to go in and make major improvements to the infrastructure to prevent stormwater infiltration into the sewer lines. That was the requirement. So yes, what Commissioner Parkin says is exactly what would happen. If there's an issue because of your project, it's on your dime.
Can I speak? This is Commissioner.
Okay.
Knapp. I have less experience than practically everybody here, but it's always been my understanding that the sewer commission could stop a project at the end and that they wouldn't act on it initially because they don't know how many units are going to be. So, like Attorney Thomas said, if you've gone through all this, you could still be shut down by the WPCA at the end. That could happen.
I don't think I have, as long as I've been on this commission, I don't think anybody has ever been denied. But I have heard the WPCA point fingers at planning and zoning saying, if they approve it, we have to approve it.
Right.
That's been the practice, which is why the question has been raised. That's all.
I would suggest,
But
yes,
you're on record as saying
Yeah.
that. So if you're speaking on
Yeah.
behalf of the WPCA,
I'm not speaking, I'm just telling you, what I'm telling you is, if you're in a sewer area, there is capacity, there is infrastructure, they have no ability to deny it. So this project, there's a big difference when you're in a non-sewer area. So that may be what you're talking about, but I just wanted to point that out to you because the concerns you expressed, that you were expressing for all similar type projects like this. And I'm just telling you when they say you go at the end.
just a note to the chairwoman, I would suggest that we have some sort of work session with the WPCA so that we can all be on the same page to make sure that what's being told to us and what we're ultimately doing is for the benefit of the city.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, I've been waiting for that exact type of meeting to be set up by administration.
I think sooner rather than later.
Mhm.
With that, I'll turn it over to Pat Rose to explain and screen share.
Yes, Green Chair, Pat Rose, Rose Tizo and Company, 35 Brentwood Avenue, Fairfield, Connecticut. Talking about 301 Old Bridgeport Avenue, this is the previous site plan that we had showed you. That we had cut back the building, added parking. We're still at 43 units, gone 3.5 stories for the building. And we're at 81 parking spaces. There was some discussion about the site layout and trying to free up some more green space. And Tony had a great idea to try and tuck this building over the parking here to make it free some of the corners up and the edge along Sunwood. And that's what we've done. We have brought this building over this portion of the parking, kept this corner where it was, and then moved this site about 25 feet away from Sunwood. And what it allowed us to do is actually get a little more green space along the building and the parking lot here and free up some of these corners being so tight to Sunwood. We end up with 81 parking spaces, and we have revised the number of units down to 39 units.
Mr. Rose, can you identify the right corner, which version is this? I have two different ones. What's the latest version supposed to be?
The one is on the screen is the latest version.
Right, but what is it, how's it identified in that block where it says revisions?
Just a second.
I have one that says zoning 11/29 and one that says revised site layout November 28th.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there was a
November-
change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one that
Let me-
says November 28th is the correct one. The only thing that changed
Okay,
is that there was a mistake in the zoning block on the height of the building, that the
Okay.
layout didn't change.
all right, thank
Some of
you.
the
This
other
is
numbers
attorney-
down below changed too, Pat.
Yeah, this is
What?
Attorney Thomas. Just to explain, I filed, as soon as Pat did it, I filed one shortly thereafter, electronically. Shortly thereafter, Pat contacted me and indicated that he was correcting a mistake and a typo, which then I repackaged it, filed it again, but by the time I had filed it, apparently Alexandria had already sent it out or put it on the website.
Everybody was too efficient.
Right.
So the site layout itself is no different on either one of those. So what we've done is we've moved the building and the parking lot about 25 feet to the right on what you're looking at. And tucked these 4 spaces underneath the building, stairs still there in between. And we've been able to get ourselves some more room in these locations.
But that all came about by adding another floor, right?
Correct. I mean,
The
we wouldn't
original
have,
concept that you submitted was
was a
2 stories.
2.5-story building, 3.5-story building. That's correct.
So you eliminated 4 units, right? Yeah,
We limited 4 units, correct.
okay, thank you.
So if I can go move on. So this being the ground floor shows the parking underneath the building, dotted line. Then the same similar building layout with units on this first floor, the ground floor, fitness, storage, electrical, sprinkler room against the retaining wall of the higher parking lot to the left.
If you went back to your original proposal, the 2.5-story building, and you reduced your total density by 6 units, you could devote the ground floor, roughly a third or so of the ground floor, to about 12 covered parking spaces, and everything would fit nice and comfortably on the site. Yeah,
Then you'd be having to put parking underneath a substantial portion of the building in order to do that.
Starting from where you have it now, over about 6 spaces on each side in that wing. And you would end up with 5 units on the ground floor plus your 2 floors of 16 units each. That's your
I don't think you're
37
going to free up as much of the site, really.
Sure looks like it.
And you won't have as
But
much
don't
parking.
forget, when you take out another couple of units, you're taking out more parking. I don't know.
So you're talking about 37 units, Mr. Panico?
But 37 units allowing you then to put in, instead of a 3.5 and 4-story building, it's a 2.5 and 3-story building.
Mhm.
I don't see the issue, the reason we did this is that the project across the street is a 3.5-story building, which is similar in size and similar in proximity to Sunwood.
Yeah, but that's 30 units, isn't it? Gross Street.
Correct, it is 30 units. The building is a little smaller.
With the 2-story configuration, that area where you now have 6 parking spaces was really green space before. It's, the only green space you have on here is the slope going back to the Sunwood condominiums. do you have any thoughts at all about exterior amenities and or interior besides the fitness room?
No, those are I don't have any exterior amenities that we're proposing. We have a fitness room, and with 39 units or 30 units or whatever, that you're talking about a small number of units to provide a lot of common space for.
Okay.
One thing to point out, obviously, when you get into densities or these of this size, if you look at a lot of the projects along there, even up to numbers, when you're in double digits, there aren't that many amenities outside.
I wasn't anticipating a pool or anything like that.
Yeah. I mean, this has, you're talking about 10% affordable. You're talking about other issues that need to be addressed. Again, even in the prior application, the applicant, it's a downtown application, and he pointed out he doesn't have any parking issue with respect to his building at 1.2. You're talking about here that you're basically at 2.0 for parking. But the density of it, the fact of the whether 2.5 story, 3.5 stories, especially with some of the building across the street, doesn't seem to, to be able to get some more green space for outside. I don't see the benefit. There is some green space here. There is green space along the road that can certainly be done, and similar to the building across the street. Plus the fact that, as you are aware, assuming you approve this applicant, along with the applicant across the streets, are going to be required to make substantial improvements to Sunwood Drive at the request of the city engineer. And
Resurfacing.
well, there may be more than resurfacing. There could very well be drainage and everything that the engineer will require. So, I mean, there are expenses connected to it, but there are, the way, I think, Pat, I don't know, don't have a colored plan, but can you point out all the areas that are going to be left green? There should be areas along the front, and
Yeah, you've got areas that are going to be landscaped here, all along along the edges. There was landscaping in the back, and now there's more opportunity for landscaping on the side.
Yeah.
The dotted line on the left that parallels the word Sunwood condominiums, that's the property line, but is there some kind of wall that is going to be?
It's a different elevation, isn't it?
Yeah, this slopes up significantly. This is where there'll be a retaining wall here.
Oh,
right here,
all right.
back
So
by the
then-
parking lot. Then the slopes up. This will be untouched. Up in here.
All right, so that stays as a slope.
It's
So
a treat slope.
looking from that slope, looking from, say, where it says Sunwood condominiums, how much will you see of this building?
The lower level of this building is looking at the upper level of this building.
Okay, so it goes down that far.
It goes down significantly. I mean, I showed a section last time that showed that.
Okay.
I think we've asked applicants regarding green spaces. There's some kind of outdoor area where there's maybe a picnic area or something, some
Like a grill area or something?
Yeah, it's there. I don't think that we ever have looked for something that is above that. And when you're referring to the tenant across the street, I believe his plans called for something along that line to mimic what he already did on Brookview 1. So if we're going to be comparing apples to apples, I think we have to include that.
Okay, and we certainly can do that. We haven't developed these site plans fully yet at this point. This was in response to the previous hearing and suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
Pat, is the location of the driveway entrance to the lower lot critical for site distances or anything like that? Could
It's
it be shifted over to where those 3 spaces are so it lines up directly?
No, it actually currently in its position right now, it
Uh-huh.
will line up with the lot, with the parking lot coming from Brookview 2.
I don't think so.
But is it necessary to have
It's
them
by
lined
this
up?
catch basin.
Okay,
That entrance is by this catch basin.
all right.
Is it necessary for the two to be in line with each other?
It would be best if we could be in line with each other, just so that you're opposing traffic and you see each other. You're not,
Yeah.
you know,
you-
50
yeah.
feet apart and then turning at the same time.
Mm-hmm. So shifting it over to the left would shift it that much, 50 feet or something?
It's probably more uniform the way it is, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So on the other parking lot, how do you get, there's 2 entrances to the building then?
Correct. You have an entrance to the building on the beveled section. There's an entrance by the stairway. And then on the other level, a level up, there's an entrance to the building here and an exit from the building here. So you've got a ground floor level off of this bigger parking lot. And
Uh-huh,
a first floor level off of the smaller parking lot is accessed.
okay.
And you'll see that just in the floor plans, you can see that this is the entrance that brings you to the elevator and mail off of the lower parking lot. And you go to the next floor, and this is the entrance from the upper parking lot that brings you to the elevator.
Oh, okay. Yep, I see that now.
Okay.
Yep. Are there any other questions by any of the commissioners?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, where were the unit counts eliminated? From what floors or how was that done?
First,
Just on the first floor,
right?
Yeah, the ground floor, we eliminated 2 of the units that were here.
Oh.
Those are gone. And then on the second and third floors, we took 3 studios and made them 2 1-bedrooms.
Oh, okay.
Square footage remained the same, but the units were.
Yeah, but the unit types changed and reduced.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, just going back to the parking lot and that
Yep.
entrance. To me, the zigzag, I would think would be a little awkward. Especially if you want to utilize one of those 3 spaces that are immediately to the left of the driveway to get in. I would think that it would be a lot better for motorists to pull the car in straight. And the only place that if he had to maneuver his car would be to take one of those parking spaces all the way on the left. But otherwise, they have a better, I think, circulation around the parking lot.
I mean, another option, just to talk about it, would be to have your entrance here.
Mm-hmm,
That way you're offset more,
mm-hmm,
which is better. You're not just off from each other.
right.
And you maybe even, we've got enough parking that you might consider getting rid of these 3 spaces, and increasing the area. So that's,
Is that going to create a problem for when the trash pickup occurs? Because you've got that exterior dumpster?
he's getting, if he comes in, he can back in and get it.
Mhm.
It depends on the truck he brings for the site.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I mean, if you turn down, if you talk to traffic engineers, they cringe at
Things just being
offset driveways across from each other. They really cringe at it. They prefer the driveways be opposite each other because of the tendency of somebody coming out to turn without paying attention to someone that's not directly in front of them.
Mhm.
So that's that. I mean, the farther offset you are, the less the issue. But that's
Commissioner Kelly, could we ask staff to get some kind of response on that from our city engineer?
Sure,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Any more questions by the committee? Commissioners? If there isn't any more, do we have public participate remotely that would like to comment on an application? Need to use the Zoom, raise your hand feature. Mr. Rossetti, is there anyone on the members of the public on Zoom or via phone?
There are not.
They're not?
There are people, but no one has raised their hand.
Okay. All right, so. Any questions? So is there a motion to either continue or close the public hearing on application 2214? And who would like to make that motion?
I'd make a motion to continue the public hearing just as in the previous application, seeing that we did not have a full commission here this evening with two of our regular members
Mhm.
not being able to attend.
Okay, is there a second?
Are we looking for any more information though? I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah, we are. We're
Yeah.
looking for
Okay.
landscaping. We're looking for,
we need to finish the
other
site
things.
drawings. Correct.
okay, all right, as long as that, because just not, if there's a couple commissioners that couldn't make it, the luxury of having Zoom is that they can watch the recording at their convenience. So,
You're absolutely right,
Mhm.
but I think there's a little more information that needs to be presented.
Yeah.
okay, that's fine.
If we
I'll-
could, if we could have a list of what it is, so we can specifically identify, you want the site plans, the green space. Is there anything else that is of any concern that we need
Well,
to?
you know what? Mr. Panico had a very good comment before. If you could maybe look into eliminating 2 more units and doing that. It's a thought.
I would only do that if I could get the 2-story building.
Yeah, I agree, Tony, but I mean, it's a thought.
Yeah, I think you've made that suggestion, and maybe there could be a response to that.
Absolutely.
We can respond. I mean, again, and you want affordable units. You want the applicant to restrict it. And I think tweaks in density, I'm just telling you, have impacts
Yeah.
on the economics of it. You know what I mean? That's
Sure.
why,
I
You want-
understand, Attorney
Yeah.
Thomas, but
Yeah.
I think it's worth looking into.
okay, all right, we will do that.
All right, thank you very much. All right, so we have a motion, so we could have a
Commissioner
roll
Parkins
call.
will second the motion to keep the public hearing open.
Okay, thank you. So the motion was made by Commissioner Harger, was seconded by Commissioner Parkins. So we're gonna have a roll call, Commissioner Parkins,
Aye.
and this to keep the 2214 application open. Commissioner Harger,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
Alter Commissioner Napio,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. It will be, there'll be a continuation of the public hearing and the agenda upcoming meeting. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item is another business item, a meeting dates. And I recognize Commissioner Harger for December meetings.
Yeah, we only have, I discussed with staff a couple months ago, and I think we had it on the agenda. At one point, we would only have one meeting in December, and it would be December 13th. So I just want to remind everybody of that. The other thing I wanted to bring up that's on the agenda as discussion of the 2023 commission meeting dates. I would like all the commissioners to consider, and we'll have a discussion at our December 13th meeting, if the first regular meeting of the month should continue to be the second Tuesday, or we move it to the second Wednesday. So it would be a day following. So all of our meetings would be on a Wednesday. And one of our the reasons why I was proposing that is because when the office reopens on a Tuesday and we have a meeting that night, sometimes we're in a crunch to clarify things, and I think it would be more beneficial for us to have staff have the ability to have that extra day in case something has come in, not to be put on the agenda, but to if there's a missing document, or like what happened last week, items were submitted, but they weren't uploaded. So, but if everybody could just think about that, and we'll have a discussion about that on December 13th.
No, I
Well, the
think
other
that's,
option is the city giving the planning and zoning staff ability to post the things themselves.
Mhm. I
that's not gonna happen, you know that.
So actually, I was discussing with our IT department, different options for publishing material. And I'll turn my camera back on. What we set up, we went through Dropbox, we went through a whole bunch of different scenarios, and we set up and are beginning to try using Google Drive. And we will set up a folder on Google Drive for every project. And rather than having applicants email us material kind of piecemeal, they will upload it to their folder. And when it's uploaded, we will be notified, but simultaneously there will be links for the public to view those folders. But we will set up different permissions for those folders so that, you know, members of the public can just view and download that material. But those of us who are actively working on the project will be able to edit, delete, add that material.
Is that a different program, or you be able to do it through what we do now?
So that's, yeah, it's the way it would, you know, right now the way it works is they email us, we relabel it, we put it into a folder, we
Right,
organize everything, we send it out, then it gets uploaded, and they have to create links for each item.
well, then we can look up the application and take it off from there.
Yes, so that's how it currently goes.
Correct.
What we'd like to do is, so you have a Google Drive, and then an applicant, they have to format the title in a very clear way. We set a standard for it. They put that material on Google Drive, and that's it. Because we will then create a link on the city website. So just like how now, when you guys go to the project material folders, there are basically links to all the PDFs. Instead of links to a PDF, it will just be a link to that project folder on a Google Drive.
Who has the ability to add or delete from the Google Drive?
It will just be staff and the applicants.
Yeah, but what will that do to the 24-hour notice?
The 24 hours is still in effect, and as part of
Yeah,
kind
but how
of
will you
a-
know that? I mean,
It'd
you know,
be dated. There'd be a date on it.
everything is dated when it
but it
when
will
it
still
goes
be on the drive. It will still be there. So
Yep, but
how do
it'll
you
show it.
but how do you disregard it?
You just say, look, there's time stamped. You know, we just say,
I
hey,
know.
or simply I just delete it and say, hey
It's
guys.
not foolproof. That's the only thing I'm not saying.
Yeah, I
Alex,
mean,
how would that folder be created once the staff has an application for a certificate of zoning compliance, and then the application number is assigned?
this is not for permits. This is just for the big projects with a lot of plans moving around.
Right, but how does that project application number get assigned to it? It's gonna have to be by staff before the folder is
Yes,
created,
that's
right?
correct. That's
Yeah.
correct.
So you're gonna know ahead of time something's coming in, and
Yes,
you'll have that folder created for them.
yes. So I will show you a quick example, and then I know.
And then once the applicant submits something, Alex would be notified that it was submitted.
Correct. let me get to.
There may be a learning curve for senior citizens.
Really? No, it should, it will not change for people of the public. It should not change.
No, I'm talking about commissioners.
No, it really shouldn't change.
I'm with you, Chow.
Well, instead of, you'd be going on the city website.
You're
and-
still going on the city website. You're still gonna click on a link.
It's kind of seamless behind the scenes, rather than being stored on the city's computers. It's being
Correct.
stored on a Google Drive that the link is directing you to without you even really knowing it.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, why won't it come up? Where is, oh, I gotta add the account.
There is no requirement for the person, like if Charlie or I were to click on that link for us to have any sort of Google account, is there?
I do not believe so. I
That
think
would
you
be the
can
only
just,
thing to check
Uh-oh.
into.
um,
That'd
Well,
be,
for
a
the
little-
public too, they shouldn't have to have
Right.
an account to
Right.
access the information.
yep, it should be seamless.
Yep, let me just see.
Alex, has anybody checked into how other towns in the area
I sure did.
and how they handle their?
They still do theirs predominantly by email.
Hmm.
Okay, I am not signed into my Google, the city Google account here, and I don't want to lock myself out, so I will show you guys another time.
Okay,
It
That's
is
fair.
not full go yet. We're still just testing things and making sure everything's kind of as foolproof as we can be, but yeah, that way, you know, when you guys get emails from us, or we send something last minute, but that technically met the deadline and so forth, we're hoping this will eliminate that, because it's basically, it's kind of turning the folder over to the applicant in a way. You know, it's
Right.
their folder. They have the responsibility to put the material up on time in an appropriate fashion. And if they can't do that, you know, that's.
And you, as the editor of that folder, of all the folders, have the knowledge of this timestamps of every time somebody submits something. So you'd have that record to be able to say, no, you didn't get it in on time.
Correct. And that's not just, that's something that we see, it's public
Mhm.
available. Anyone will be able to see the time and date.
okay.
Should
So this
be,
should hopefully streamline things a bit.
Yeah,
That's-
hopefully.
we try every now and
Mhm.
then, we do try.
Maybe by the 22nd century, we'll actually be there.
The only problem I see on doing what we're doing here is that, you know, I take these off. I can't read them. They're too small. You know, the drawings and everything. I'm not
I
quite
mean-
sure how we can change that. You know,
Can't you just
the-
blow them up on your computer screen?
no. Yeah, I can, but when you print them, you can't. It just prints to 9x12.
Well, save
Right.
paper. Just enlarge it on the screen.
Yeah, or if
Wood's
you
gonna
guys want
become
to,
a valuable commodity pretty soon.
if
Yeah.
you
We're
want
gonna
to
start burning it again.
ask the
Hmm.
city for a stipend for a nice big wall monitor, feel free to type up a request.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. All right, guys.
Yeah, it is one disadvantage, is
Well,
learning
you
that.
don't you receive full size sets?
Yes, we do. Yep. So anytime someone wants to come in and look at full size sets, we're happy to pull them out for you. So
Okay.
if you're ever in the neighborhood, Charlie, you're welcome to stop by.
Oh, thank you. Are there any more comments from the staff?
That's it.
All right, the final agenda item is approval of minutes. As some of the commissioners here tonight were not in attendance of October 26th meeting, the approval of these minutes are being tabled. Next is the approval of November 9th minutes. Does anyone have any comments or changes November 9th minutes?
Can I just suggest a correction on the October 26th? So when they do come up, they
Sure.
can be corrected. Okay. On page 4, paragraph 4, it refers to the, I don't know if you can find that, the traffic study saying that the original plan with the mixed use was like 250 trips at peak hour. And now that it says now that it's a retail development, it would only be 50 trips, but it should say now that it's a residential.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Anybody following me? Sounds like Ginny, you're following me, right?
Yeah, I found it. It's the paragraph that starts, Mr. O'Leary addressed the traffic concerns.
Right. So a residential, not retail.
Mm-hmm.
That's my only comment.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve November 9th minutes as submitted with
I'm
change?
going to have to abstain because I was not present for either the 26th or November 9th.
Same here, Ruth and the commissioners.
Pardon me? Okay, Commissioner Harger,
And no, I haven't, an eye on the approval for November 9th. Is there a motion on the floor, though?
oh, I'm sorry. Sir, I did ask for that. Is your motion to approve November 9th minutes as submitted with changes? So I need a motion.
Okay, but you know what?
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, if Commissioner Parkins and alternate Commissioner
You
Onofrio
want to put that,
already
keep that on
indicated.
board?
Yeah, although I looked at my chart that I keep of attendance, and I have it marked okay that 5 of us here tonight were present at that special meeting on November 9th. Ruth, were you not? Let's see.
I know I was, wasn't I?
No, Ruth wasn't.
No,
Yeah.
me, Commissioner Kelly. I believe I was.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah,
So,
I was not present.
yeah, and neither was an alternate Commissioner Onofrio, so we wouldn't have enough to.
we wouldn't have a quorum, no.
Yeah.
So we'll
Right.
keep it up, we'll keep it on slate then.
Yep, I'm talking about tabling.
Yep.
Okay.
Next is the approval of April 12th minutes. The formal approval of these minutes were held up until staff confirmed the description and add-ons were correct. Does anyone have any comments or changes on the April 12th minutes? Is there a motion to approve the 12th minutes as submitted with changes?
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
I need a second.
I'll make a second on that.
Okay. So there is a motion to approve by Commissioner Harger and a second by Commissioner Motto.
No, I think it's the other way around.
Okay.
Not that it matters.
No.
Okay.
So I need a vote. Commissioner Parkins,
I was there.
Commissioner Harger,
Aye.
Commissioner Motto,
Aye.
alternate Commissioner Nafio.
Commissioner, I need to abstain because I was not at the April 12th
Okay.
meeting.
So Commissioner Kelly, aye. Okay, if there's no other items on the agenda, we can close this meeting and adjournment as of 8:18.
Very good.
Hope everyone that's not feeling well feels better soon.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Ruth.
you.
Have a good night, everyone.
You
Take
too.
care.
Take care.